Hi, this is Randy Finney with Right Side of the Chart, and today is Monday, April 10th, 2017. Hope everybody had a good weekend. I wanted to do another update on the marijuana stocks. We'll go through, as I often do in these videos. I have an ever-growing watch list, which as of now is 40 different items in there. Now, there's a little bit of overlap. Some of the stocks in the watch list as we go through these, you'll see they trade on either any of the Toronto exchanges, the Canadian exchanges, I should say, the TSC, the Toronto Stock Exchange, or the Canadian Venture Exchange. So as we go through these again, I should complete that line of thought. And they also have share classes on a lot of these since they are Canadian stocks, but there's a lot of demand in the U.S. and many of those stocks also are listed on some of the U.S. exchanges. Could be the bulletin board, pink sheets. Those are a lot of over-counter stocks. So again, there's stocks. Americans can buy the Canadian stocks. You have to talk to your broker. There may be certain tax implications, but all other things being equal, you might want to try the U.S.-based shares if you're a U.S. citizen, and if you're a Canadian, then I'll go over some of those. And again, do your own diligence. If I mention a stock here, it might be a Canadian company, and I might be looking at the U.S. exchange traded shares. Just do a quick Google search and you'll get the ticker symbol, and then the charts are going to pretty much mirror each other for the most part. All right, before we get into the video, I'll make mention a few people in the trading room recently have pointed out this new ETF, HMMJ.TO, meaning trades on the Toronto Stock Exchange, TSC. And this is the Horizons Medical Marijuana Life Sciences ETF. So up about 9% today so far. You can see it's only been trading now for a few days. It's relatively new. It's up about 17 or so percent since it came out, I guess last week. So there's one to keep an eye on. Again, if you want to have the safety and diversity of an ETF. Again, my preference is take a shotgun approach and trade the best looking individual stocks, and that's what I'm going to go through today. So let's just dive into the charts. There's so many to cover. TBQBF, Emerald Health Therapeutics. I think you guys can make out the names down here, but if not, I'll turn up the brightness on that. Let me do that. Okay, I did that. So if I don't mention the name, I'll try to mention the symbol. TBQBF. Here's the downtrend line. Again, all of these have been covered in previous videos. So like everything else, sector had a very strong run up, leading up into the U.S. elections, and then a little bit of a sell-off consolidation sense. As I mentioned, a lot of the stocks got ahead of themselves. And in many of these, it's what we've seen here is healthy sideways consolidation. As I always mention, when a stock corrects, it can correct in either time or price or a combination of both. And so the givebacks were relatively small on these. By givebacks, I mean off the highs. It was more so in this one a correction in time, as you can see here. So all in all, I like that. It just shows that these stocks, there's still a lot more buyers than sellers. The sellers didn't take down and fade all of that gain. And in this one, as you can see, it broke out above this downtrend line. Very bullish. Look at the volume. I don't have the volume turned up very brightly, but you can see the increased volume bars down here. And it also took out that previous reaction high. So that's what we call blue skies on a stock, meaning there's not any resistance above. At least I go back a couple years. Yeah, that's all-time high on this one. So that looks good, and I can't even give you price targets now. I'm viewing these, as I've made mention for a while now, I'll trade them strategically on the charts, sometimes swing trade in and out, almost always, with a few exceptions, alongside swing trades. I don't have much of an interest to short, especially a lot of these low price stocks. But you can see all these levels here. They're strategic. You can buy strategically on pullbacks to support, and also buy strategically on breakouts of resistance. That's trading 101. So you had the downtrend line taken out, and then that one's off to the races. ATTBF, that is Abatis Bioceutical Corps. Or Abatis, I'm not sure how to pronounce that one. Either way, this one, there was a divergent high at this point. This is the last time I updated the chart. I would have showed this divergent high, and that divergence did play out for a correction. We are making another divergent high. A little concerning. We popped above the previous reaction high, but failed it so far. So there's one. Longer term, a lot of these stocks are probably just going to burn through these divergences. And as I often say, We don't know. This is an industry in its infancy, early stages, and there'll be winners and losers. And again, that's the reason for taking a shotgun approach. You don't want to pick just one and put everything in that. There'll be winners and losers, but for the most part, this one looks good if it holds. This is a key support level. I'll try to do that. And we're well above the key support level, so I don't really see an objective add-on level here, unless maybe it can pop through that previous reaction high again, hold it, close above it, and power on, and then burn through these divergences, maybe take out this previous reaction high here on the PPO. That would be nice to see. So again, not one of my favorites, but just one worth mentioning. EMC.V, there's a Canadian Venture Exchange. When you see that .V, I had this downtrend line recently highlighted, and that we broke out and we're up over 33% today. So these guys are moving, and a lot of this probably has to do with what some people mentioned in the trading room. It makes sense. Inclusion in this new ETF. I don't know how much money is in that ETF already, and I think somebody said there's a couple of them out there now. So you may be seeing buying due to that. Either way, it's a good thing as long as the sector still has great potential long run. Near term, it's hard to say. This is a resistance level here at 349, roughly, call it 350. So you really have to zoom in on that chart because it had such a big move up. And so maybe a reaction there. If it takes that 350 level out, there's your next stop up here about 440 or so, and then it's off to new highs after that. So that's again a Canadian EMC Emblem Corp. There's the ETF I just covered, I believe. If I didn't cover that, HMJJ.TO, the new ETF for the marijuana sector, trades on the Toronto Stock Exchange, up about 17%. It's only been trading a few days now, so not a lot of price history. Can't really do much with charting, but again, you're seeing this one gain, and you can look into it and try to get, I don't know when they'll report how much inflows they've had. But again, imagine that plays into some of these stocks moving recently. CCAN, just a simple but effective method of go long. Look at these downtrend lines. Sometimes you have a falling wedge, but either way, it's a downtrend line, a breakout. Downtrend line, breakout. Downtrend line, breakout. Kind of looks like an EKG, downtrend line, breakout. And these are all potential targets, resistance levels. Again, not one of my favorites, but all of them worth mentioning. VAPE, this one works well in the technicals. It's been dancing on this 0.0062 support level for a while now, so you can buy it there on support, most certainly. That's support unless broken. Your next buy signal would be on a break above. There's a minor downtrend line here, so I like that one. If that 0.0062 level fails, next support down here, I'll show you the pop-up box, at about 0.0046 we have a support level that it may want to go down to. And but again, beyond I'd probably prefer to wait to see this one take out this downtrend line since it's so close, and then these are all potential targets here. Ultimately, probably work our way back up to the 0.335 area there. EAPH, nice. This was a bearish rising wedge, confirmed with negative divergence right here where you see the crosshairs, and it did play out. Played out for a correction. And don't forget the scope of the moves on these guys. This is, 50, that's a 60% drop. So huge correction, but it pales in comparison to the move leading up to there. So again, it's all relative, and I talk about that a lot, and this is why you take a small position size. Here's one that went up almost about 4,000% in just a few months. So a 60% correction is nothing after making a 4,000% run. That's a mild give back. I'm just trying to put it in perspective. So when you factor in your position size, take it way down. You don't need to put a lot of money in these things to make a lot of money is my point. And I'm looking at these as long-term trades. Either way, there's your next buy signal. This one's working its way down within this sort of wedge pattern. It's downtrend line here. If it pops above that, next target, there's some minor resistance there, about 0.047, but you want to target that previous reaction high, and it'll probably take that out eventually. APHQF, a little concerning. This is potential divergence, not confirmed. I say potential because the PPO and the RSI are still pointing up, and they may take that divergence out. Either way, this one's at new highs. That's bullish, and looks okay for now. PHOT, Grow Life, downtrend line breakout. We've been back testing. I guess the key level that it stands out to me on this one is this support level here. We have quite a few reactions. So you can buy it on support. You're also buying it on a back test of a downtrend line there. And stops are tricky because these are such some of these are so thinly traded that you can have these brief spikes intraday. People, if the broker even lets them put a market order, a broker shouldn't allow a market order on a stock that's trading under a penny a share. But if it did, some people may sell and then get filled way down here. I don't know what happened with these errant spikes, but that's not so unusual for very thinly traded stocks. So, you just have to kind of give them a little room and not put enough in it that you get crushed if the stock goes down 50% in a day, because you're looking in these things for, a triple-digit plus gains as far as in percentage terms. So there's your levels. You buy it here if you like it, penny a share, and you look for that 2-cent a share target, and it's more than a double on your money from current levels. And that's resistance. It's well defined. You go back, see how many reactions on that. So this would be very bullish if it takes that out. So there's one with 100+% profit potential, but cuts both ways if it doesn't work out. DEWM, believe I pointed this one out in the trading room today on a pullback to the support level. You can see well defined, a lot of reactions, and the story on this one, although there have been these brief intraday or maybe 1-2 day overshoots, they were very fleeting. So what I had mentioned in the trading room, every time we've hit that level, these rallies here, I measured them out. On average, these are about I think 100% returns. So it's a very simple approach here. You buy this one when it hits this, drops down to the 0.002 cent level, a little bit below there. And usually it didn't remain there very long until you had a big pop. So this one overshot a little. But if you waited till it got back up, or if you rode it out, you bought here, you rode out that 1 or 2 day big drawdown in the stock, then you more than doubled your money there. That might have been a triple on your money. So there it is, guys. Simple yet effective. Buy here at support. Next buy signal, in addition to this tag of the support level, would be a break above this downtrend line like it was on the previous one. So here's one you can just sit and trade. And maybe if this company has some type of half-decent business model in the long term and the charts firm up and this one goes on to make new highs, I don't know. Again, I haven't. I've done my due diligence fundamentally on some, but not all of these companies. In fact, the majority I haven't. Or Organogram Holdings, OGRMF, well-defined uptrend line, which was broken. There's a correction that we needed to reset these overbought conditions after running up from late 2015. That one returned about almost 2,000%. So therefore, a pullback was needed and healthy. And since this one's been powering up and on increasing volume, next target or resistance level right here is 271, then about 328, we'll call it 329, and then blue skies if it can take that out. THCBF, THC Biomed, downtrend line. We just need to see that downtrend line pop. You can replicate this on your own chart. Targets here. First target is around 7.745. Then your next target would be 1.075 or rough. So you sell a little bit below that, maybe sell just below $1.07 if that's your price target, or you hold for the long run, wait for it to take out new highs. Weed.to, this is Canopy Growth. I also covered this one in the trading room with the U.S. shares, which I'll get to here in a second. TWMJF, I believe. Thought I'd mark this chart up too, but you have a downtrend line to watch right here, and sort of a triangle pattern. So this one's starting to move today, and again, I'll get to it. I've tracked the TWMJFF or TWMJF and own a little position in that one, and we'll get to that one in a second. As you guys probably know, this is one of my favorites. I've made that clear. It's one of the few official, if not only official, trade ideas on the site. That's how much confidence I had in it. Both I did, my research fundamentally and technically. We've had some phenomenal trades. We started buying it back here at 55 cents. Rode it up to 81, which is a big gain real quickly, took profits, and we recycled back in here again at 60.068. that was a swing target, and then I mentioned the long-term trade target being at 3. When we got just under $3, I mentioned I pulled the plug on a good deal of my shares. But since the story on this one, and I've updated it recently, it has been consolidating more so in time than in price. And just today, I posted in the trading room, right when it broke out, I had a buy alert set to go off if it cleared 215, which it did. It took out 215 and it's run. The stock is trading up right now. I'm looking at another monitor. This one's delayed. I have real-time quotes on a few other monitors that aren't on this screen we're looking at here, and it's up 16.65%, trading at 245 as I speak right now. So that's a solid breakout, confirmed with volume. I don't know if you can make it out on the video. There's a big volume stick. That's a powerful basing pattern. So I added some more to my position today in ACBFF, mentioned it in the trading room when it broke out. And it's just a nice, clean-looking chart. Hope you guys caught or had some beforehand and maybe added to it today. Next objective entry, back test to that level, or breakout of the previous reaction highs. OGI.V, V means Canadian Venture Exchange. Organogram Holdings, I might have covered this one already in another share class, but nice downtrend line. Was taken out, and nothing but volume, increased volume, and nice green bars, right? Nice price action right up to this. I had that 353 resistance level in my previous charts. We had a high of 346 so far today, and again, that one may be delayed. I'll have to check, but next target here is 447. But this is certainly, I believe in one of the previous updates I would have mentioned this trend line is in this next objective entry. We took it out there, and since we've taken out that trend line, that thing has run up 36%. So even a little bit of sprinkling a little bit of money in these things, you can still make some nice returns in in dollar terms, not just percentage gains. Don't get tied up in the percentage gains. If you can't take a stock that you're willing to accept a 30, 40, 50% plus downside on, don't trade these. But on many of these, you're looking to make 100, 200, 300, or 1,000% or more, and even a lot more than that if you're talking about tucking them away for a few years as longer term investments. MJN.V, Pharmacan Capital Corp. So this one must have something to do with financing for these cannabis companies. Divergent high, a little concerning, but yet the PPO is still above the zero line. You're going to see divergences in some of these. This is a strong sector, and again, I made clear that with very few exceptions, do I care to short these things? Rather go long, and the divergences in many cases in a strong sector will be burned through. So that's that. Right now, what can I tell you about this one? Well, it looks like it's attempting. It's not done it with conviction yet. It's attempting to take out that previous reaction / all-time high. That would be bullish. And right now it seems to want to maybe be working its way up within this price channel here. So maybe a run up to the top of that channel. We'll see. But stop could be below this uptrend line. That's a pretty well-defined uptrend line. And then your next support, if you want to use that as a stop, would be a move somewhat below the 246 level, this horizontal line there. EDXC, Index Corp. Nice, well-defined uptrend line. We've been walking up that uptrend line. So this one's pinched between a rock and a hard place. You have support, the uptrend line. I'm going to loosen that up a little right here. And you have this horizontal level, which comes in at about, let's put a line there for you, 0.059. So if it breaks that, that looks like an ascending triangle pattern, this line and this line below. Just this part of it, and so that could pop you up here. You can see resistance / target levels. You have one here. Let me put the pop-up box on the screen. 0.0062. That's roughly a range. I really should have a couple lines up there. You have the previous reaction high. So either way, PPO is below the zero line. Be a little cautious on this one. It's come up quite a bit, from the lows. Just in a year or so, that one went up about 900% there. So just be careful. This would be your first warning sign if it broke the uptrend line. Then you have horizontal support about 0.84, and any of these might catch the support if that level breaks. But again, this one could could break to the upside and run to any of those levels. MCIG, that's MSIG Inc. Let's see. Okay, there it is. This one had, you can see the rising wedge pattern, uptrend line here, negative, clear negative divergence. And those divergences did play out. They played out for a correction to the tune of about, from a high to low, I'm just using the measuring tool here, about 67%. So, you know, and again, that was after a big run. So the good news is it has worked off a lot of those overbought conditions. It's behaved very well on this support level. I have a level here marked at about 0.271. That's that previous reaction high. We overshot it there with a momentum overshoot. We've danced on it since then. So as long as that level holds, it looks good. So there's one that you can accumulate or take a position in here if you don't own it. Stop below. You can see the other potential targets if it does go farther down. However, it breaks up. Your next target area here is this resistance zone that the top of that's about 34 cents a share. Then you have the previous highs to contend with, and if it can take those out, its previous highs are about 49 cents a share. So I like this one. I favor an upside break of that pattern. It looks pretty good. Cara Therapeutics, you guys know, one of my favorites for a long time, a core holding, you know, long-term position. Played a little pullback short trade when it hit this 1810 target, but for the most part I've been buying this one. I can't remember, since down here somewhere we were accumulating it. Swing trades, trend trades, but mostly almost all long side trades, and this one's done very well. It's got I think a nice fundamental story. I'm a little concerned right now. There's this negative divergence in place. It's stalling out here. It's really struggling with that 1810. I had mentioned all the way back here that was my long-term final target, or initial, I should call it, long-term target. And what I mean by that is, you know, this one has come a long way from where it was just back in less than a year ago. The stock has climbed almost, you know, 380, over 380%. It may just need to take a little breather for a while. Maybe not. We'll watch it, but I'm looking for something like this. Maybe work off, maybe come back in here again to this 1335 level, work off the overbought conditions, whether we correct in time and or price, and then maybe power through and break through to head out to new highs. But again, a little stretched right now. So I'm flat in that one right now. I'm waiting for an objective entry at this time. AERO, there's your chart, you know, nice move up. Broke at the primary downtrend line. It's been working its way down within this descending price channel defined by these two lines here, the two downtrend lines. But we recently broke out and we're coming in. We're back, almost back testing the line. You can see we're a little above it, and we're at a horizontal support level here. And when it popped above there, it did hit that 293 target that I had. So I can't remember each and every one of these where I updated that in the video, but from that point, if it did hit that level, that was good for about a quick 10% pop. So here's one. It broke out. That's bullish. It's close to back testing, so you could buy it here. If it drops a little more to the trend line, buy it there. And I had a level here at 216, as you can see, but I can see some reactions a little bit above that, so I'm going to put this now as a support level to watch. 232 almost, yeah, so that's almost 232 right there. I'll brighten that line up so you can see it, and certainly objective level to add there. And if it starts to drop below that 216 level, then I'd be a little concerned. That would not be good technically, especially if it can't regain it by the close that day, if it does drop below there. SPRWF, Supreme Pharmaceuticals, you know, same story as most. Nice run up, you know, over the last year or so. Divergent high. It's not all marked here. You can see the divergence on the chart. Prices making higher highs. Is the stock, or the indicators made lower highs, and then this one did the old correction more so in time. With this sideways trading range. So you're looking at a stock that's ready to pop. It needs to take out this level. It's challenging the top of that range right now, which is about 144. I'll give you a green line for it so it's nice and bright. And there, 144. Yeah, it's convincing break above it, and that one can run. I think it's definitely worked off the overbought conditions and the divergences that it needed to. So no price target this time. I would just tuck it away, hold it with a stop, you know, stop somewhat wherever you're comfortable with if you take it. and let that one work out long term. MJNA, medical marijuana, broke that uptrend line, definitely had its corrections, flirted around with this support level here, broke below it for a little bit, but so there's one at support, roughly at support. I don't have a great buy point for this one. I'll draw a downtrend line here that's been sliced through a little bit. This one has a very erratic, choppy trading history with these big candlestick wicks and tails, so can be tough, but that's probably the downtrend line to watch. And you don't want to see those recent lows go at this point. I don't think that'll look good. But so if you want to buy it, you buy here at support, you buy a break of this trend line, and your next target would be up here about the 21 cent, 0.21 cent level. Next target, and then blue skies if it can take that out. All right, I'll wrap it up here since I am now 22 out of the 40 stocks on my watch list I've covered, and I'll do the other half in a separate watch list for those interested. And by the way, I wasn't cherry picking in any order. I may have sorted these by percentage gainers earlier, so a lot of the ones you've seen today probably included a good deal of the breakouts, but there's actually some I'm seeing down below that may be breaking out as well. So again, I just wanted to mention that I didn't pick favorites here in the order that I'm going through. All right, this has been Randy Finney with Right Side of the Chart, and I'll get that other video out as soon as possible.